Back to Sex in the Seminary podcast. I'm your host, Coach Joy, also known by my pen name, Amelia Strang, the author of Sex in the Seminary. Welcome to the podcast that explores spirituality, sexuality, relationships, embodiment, ethics, as well as plant medicine. And
Mm,
today we are going to be speaking with a very special guest about a plant medicine called cacao. Now, you may have already know this, but over the past decades, there has been a growing interest in plant medicine, ancestral wisdom, and
mm,
indigenous spiritual practices. People are searching for answers and for healing and for connection and community and to be more in their heart space more than ever. And so, what I have found is that people are moving beyond the conventional medical treatments, conventional ways of exploring spirituality, and rediscovering practices that have been preserved by indigenous communities for generations. And one of those
mm,
plants that we're going to talk about and practices is called cacao. Now, most people know about cacao. If you've ever drank chocolate milk, ate a Snickers, or
mm.
had any type of chocolate, you've had a form of cacao. So, yet for thousands of years, cacao has had a much deeper significance than having a chocolate bar. So, in South America, Mexico, South America, the plant is really honored in a way to build community, and we're going to get into that
Mm.
momentarily. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Mateo from Holy Wow Cacao.
Hey, Joy. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you having me here today. Thank you.
Welcome to Sex in the Seminary podcast. Yeah,
Awesome. Good to
it's
be
been a
here.
long time coming.
Yeah, it has. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Been
since my
weaving and
facilitator training.
yes, exactly. Exactly. Yep. It's great to kind of be on this side of things now and yeah, be in the space that you're holding here.
Yes, yes. So where are you located currently?
Right now, I'm actually here in Guatemala, also known as Guatemala, and yeah, here in the village of Tsununa. Yeah, small rural Mayan village here at Lake Atitlán, Guatemala. Yeah.
Wonderful,
Mm.
wonderful. Now, let's get into it. You are the founder of Holy Wow Cacao.
Yeah.
What brought you to this journey?
Yes, it's a great question, and um, yeah, aptly timed as I've been kind of trying to recap this story in the last days for our website, and it's so hard to put such a big story, into a few words. But um, the crux of it is that about 13, 14 years ago, my mom died from cancer. And when she passed, and, the year prior, that was a very, very, very difficult time. And I was about 26 at the time and didn't really have much resource to handle such a situation, community resource, the wisdom within, the
Mhm.
no practices. So I found myself in a deep depression following that experience. Just really a critical breaking point in my life, and I didn't really know how to handle it. Um, I got into combo, frog medicines, ecstatic dance. I
Mhm.
started to dabble in yoga, meditation, and these things were starting to open things. Um, Pretty soon after, I opened up a healing arts center in Gainesville, Florida, um, to keep going with these practices, to keep going with something that felt like it was starting to do the work, though I didn't know what.
Mm.
And it ended up being cacao that came within a month or two after opening up the doors to this Aurora Healing Arts. And yeah, that day just changed my life completely. I found myself in an 8-hour cacao ceremony that ended up breaking me, and was in a pool of my tears for hours and hours, crying more than I've ever cried in my entire life. And at a certain moment, I found myself connecting with the spirit of cacao. She was coming to me, the consciousness of this plant. And this is the first time that something like this has ever happened to me. And there she was in my consciousness and saying, "Do you see what's happening? You see this experience of transmutation from this heaviness, this gut wrenching sadness and pain, from the darkness into the light." And
Mhm,
literally was asking, "Do you see what's happening? This is my medicine. This is
mm,
how I work. Watch,
mm,
watch." And I'm just, it was shocking and surreal, and at the same time, it was felt and real experience. So I watched, I prayed, I learned, and by the end of that night, um, I found myself making a promise to the spirit of cacao to work with her for the rest of my life. And
mm.
yeah, here we are about 10 years later, and that's what I've been doing.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
I so applaud you for being courageous and being open, um, in those moments. I think there's many people who can benefit from that story because people are seeking. Um, and when you start to talk about things opening up, say a little bit more about that when you say things are opening up, because I'm just gonna go ahead and go there. There's some communities, particular Christian communities, and also some spiritual communities where you when you start talking about things opening up, they think about portals and they think about entities and demons and all kinds of things and spirits coming through and things taking possession. But that's not what we're talking about here. No. Okay.
No,
So
not
let's
at all.
okay.
That Yeah. Wow, that you went right in there. That's a big topic.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. And I
me.
think you hit the nail on the head as the number one fear that people have of any plant medicine.
Yeah.
And I say that from both the respect of the people like you were just talking about, this whatever walk of life they come from, they have this idea of just like negative connotation that if they drink some cacao, work with ayahuasca, perhaps ingest some cannabis, whatever the plant medicine. I mean, drink some tea. There's
Mhm,
something's going to happen. Something's going to take over, and it's like, I mean, for me, at the end of the day, everything has spirit. Me and you have spirit. Our dogs have spirit. I
mhm,
mean, broccoli has spirit. So, I mean, that's really how I see it, and so everything's got an energetic signature, and um, yeah, nothing's going to happen to you if you don't call it in and create it and co-create it is my perspective on life. But the other
mhm,
thing I want to touch in after working with ayahuasca for years and years and years,
mm,
the number one fear again of people that I would be kind of doing the coaching and the intro conversations was they'd be afraid that they're going to have a bad trip or a bad experience, and
mhm.
I'd always tell them again, this is not going to put anything into you that doesn't already exist. If you see a dark
Oh,
experience, it's because it's already there. Um, if you
yes.
don't have it in you, where's it going to come from? It's not we're not it's not just being fabricated. Your experience is your direct experience, and it's elucidating what's there and what's wanting to be seen and felt and heard, and what's probably been suppressed for a pretty long time. So,
Mhm,
yeah, I just no, no worries, right? Like it's welcome it and see where you want to go, and to heal it, you have to feel it. So,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And thank you for that because, I think our stories with, cacao, they intersect. My first cacao experience, I was looking for answers as, why my depression at the time I was dealing with depression. What is this? Why can't I get beyond this. I've been through therapy. I've been through all kinds of uh, treatment programs.
Mm,
I've exercised. I eat right. I was taking medication. I joined the church. I did all those things, but yet there was something there, still blocking me.
mm,
And, it came at a time actually I had gone, I had become a spiritual life coach and I had all the tools and I was using my tools, but there was just still something there. I just couldn't put my finger on it. And so as the universe would have it, I started seeing a lot of different things about cacao and meeting people that had had cacao experiences. And so
mm,
at that time in my life, I was actually traveling to Mexico and I went and I had my first cacao experience. Now, my experience was mixed with some psilocybin, with the mushroom. But I will say that it was the one of the most beautiful uh, experiences that I've had in
mm,
my lifetime.
mm,
I didn't know I was carrying so much grief, and so when you talk about things opening up, for me, it was like, where is this coming from? And I had the very similar experience of hearing, and I say Holy Spirit, but hearing Holy Spirit say, This is what you're carrying and why." And it was such a deep level
mm,
of grief that I think it was something that only plant medicine could have gotten to.
mm.
You understand what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
if I had not had that experience, I would not have had that awareness of what that block was. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it would have mm, just kind of slowly came in different ways, little tiny moments that keep, hey Joy, like you see how you reacted to that person, you see what triggered you in that it's like occasionally, but yeah, sometimes these experiences with we could say plant medicines or whatever, it could be a somatic practice, but something that really it's these critical kind of breakthrough moments,
Yeah.
and they give us those years of therapy all in a moment, in an
Yeah.
instant. and,
All of the
and yeah,
exactly.
so yeah,
I came
yeah,
out like, well, I could have saved a couple of $1,000.
yeah,
But
exactly,
I
it's
I think but I
well
think
worth it.
therapy has its place, though. It does. I think it all works. It's
Yes,
if
exactly.
it can be an ecosystem if you
Yes.
integrate it properly. So, but anyhow, let's get back to you.
Hmm.
So how did you get to Guatemala? Why Guatemala?
Yeah. Hmm. Something, actually, just before I touch on that, that I don't want to forget that you just spoke about was your grief, and so it sounds like for you, the core of your depression was rooted in that repressed or unfelt, unprocessed grief, and yeah, and for me as well, and
Mhm.
I just really want to hone in on that. That for me, cacao is it's the medicine of grief. It's the medicine of how to touch in and feel this deep rooted sadness and grief that every human carries, whether they've experienced loss of a human or loss of a animal or the loss of a job or the loss of an idea of their future that they once thought was going to be there, and that has passed and it doesn't get to happen the way that they thought.
Mm,
And there's just so many ways that we're all carrying grief, and that most of the time in modern day communities are not taught how to work with it, let alone even to speak about it, but to
mm,
work with it. And actually, I didn't mention this, but that first cacao ceremony that I was in, that this man brought to me, um, it was a cacao and grief ceremony. And he had been studying for many years with this African tribe that still to this day holds community grief ceremony on a regular basis. I mean,
mm, mm,
weekly, daily. I mean, on a regular basis, the community is coming together to process and move grief. and
Mhm.
and so that also leads me full circle to remind that the plant is only as powerful as the ceremonial context in which it's held. That's why a lot of modern day people, they play with mushrooms, they trip, they party, they do these things, but unless it's held in the right ceremonial context and brought together with a proper person who's going to hold the container or people who will hold the container and have that intention,
Mhm.
um, you'll miss out on a good half of the potency of the medicine because the medicine is so far beyond what's in the physical. So just wanted to hone in on that and bring many different pieces that just came to me as you were speaking about grief. Um,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yeah.
I appreciate that. You mentioned Africa. So is cacao used in indigenous cultures in Africa?
A little bit these days. It's actually newer to Africa, but these ceremonies are just grief ceremonies. He combined them here because it was two different traditions that he was learning from.
Mm,
The grief ceremony tradition that they don't normally use cacao. So that was something that he just started to weave together because, again, seeing, wow, cacao helps us to touch and pull up from the darkness all of these deep rooted emotions. And for some
mhm,
people, it's just going to be the joy and the happiness and the elatedness. Other people, it needs to go to that darkness first. But yeah, so these days, where cacao has been introduced for the last 200 years or so into Africa to grow there because it's a rich growing environment and big companies have brought it there. Um, I don't have that much information, but I can say I've caught a few videos here and there that okay, the people now have this. It's not native or indigenous to their lands, but it's
mhm,
growing. It's prevalent. Africa is
mhm.
producing 70% of the world's cacao supply in only 200 years of its existence on that continent. So,
Really?
it's wild that, yeah, it's producing three countries in
Wow.
Africa. I think it's Ivory Coast, Ghana, and I can't remember the third one, are producing all of this cacao. So, yeah,
So
now
West
people,
Africa, West
yes,
Africa.
West
Okay.
Africa. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Interesting. I think it just
yeah,
speaks to the fluidity of
yes,
the plant and, how spirituality is not something that we can contain locally, right? That
yes,
yeah, we're talking about
yes.
spirit.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. Great
yes,
spirit, moving things, giving us the tools and the medicines that we need at the time that we as humanity need it in the right moment at the right time. And and also I would just want to say when you just said that, the fluidity of the plant, I love that because a lot of times people and myself included only focus on the hardship um, of cacao getting introduced to Africa, the slave labor there, the child
mhm,
labor, the really horrible things that are happening there, which is very true. And
mhm,
that's what I'm usually focusing on and saying we got to do things differently. But that being said, you just touched on this idea that spirit is making sure that the right medicines move around the world at the right time. And as you introduced to this podcast, you said, in recent years, the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we've seen this
mhm.
explosion of plant medicines, of ayahuasca moving around the world. And now it's all over. So, yeah, things, I have a friend, a good sister of mine, that's bringing the moon dance, which is, Mexican tradition
Yeah,
mixed with some Native American traditions from North America, the moon dance to Egypt in just a few months for the first time ever in Egypt. And
yeah,
so again, I mean, these things are moving where life is having us move things.
yes, yes. I know an elder in my community who traveled throughout the world, offering, sun dance. which is
Ah,
also Native American.
yep,
Yeah. So, it just speaks to, like you said, um, the fluidity and spirit, spirit being in control of those things. I think sometimes cultures want to take ownership for things, and I think you do have to give credit for the roots of where things began. Absolutely, uh, but be mindful that something greater is in
yeah,
control here.
yes, yes.
Something greater is in control. So
Okay, so you had mentioned something about Guatemala. What did
yeah, so
I
going back
think?
to Guatemala.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
as we sip on cacao.
Exactly, exactly. Yes,
Um,
which
you
to
know
all of you out there, just so you know, Joy and I had already prayed over the cacao and introduced
Yes,
it in a, in a proper way to ourselves, to our bodies, to these temples before we got going. So right now we're sipping, we're working with the cacao, but you know, I mean, we don't take things too seriously all the time. Sometimes
yeah,
we're just enjoying the cacao, and at the same time, just so you know, we did really sit, pray, and prepare for this experience, and it
yeah.
goes back to what I shared earlier, how crucial it is to do that, and then you get the most out of it. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes. So, Guatemala, why Guatemala? Why not Mexico or Cancun, Tulum, or Playa del Carmen?
Peru. Wow, and you mentioned all the places that, yeah, are the exact opposite of here. Yes, well, not the exact opposite, but the opposite in the sense of like, um, you could say more material nature and material focus on a lot of wealth and kind of creating, in a way, creating beauty in the material realm.
Mhm,
And here in Guatemala, this is a place that's so rich in the spiritual traditions,
mm,
and it's considered a third world country, because the material, it hasn't made it here, luckily. And
mhm,
the I came here for 2 reasons. One, because for the 4 years, 4.5 years that I had been working with cacao before leaving the United States, um, I was trying cacao from all different places around the world, and
mm,
it was initially sparked by this woman who had been here and said, "I know you're working with this Ecuadorian cacao, it seems to be your favorite, but you should try the Guatemalan cacao. It's epic." And then she said, "It's the perfect blend of masculine and feminine. This Ecuadorian cacao, it's powerful, it's strong, but it's masculine. You should try
mm,
this other and just see what it's like." Huh, okay. Well, sure enough, I instantly felt exactly what she was talking about.
mhm,
And soon after, I started really kind of honing in. Okay, cacao from Mexico, from Belize, from Peru, from Colombia, from Ecuador, from Brazil, from Guatemala. What's the difference? What are these energetic signatures that are different? And so, aside from this beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy, which means a softness and sweetness and kind of an allowing, a receiving,
yes,
a certain nature that's open and spacious in the feminine, and then something that's more masculine, active, directed, more caffeine content, different things like that that are going to really activate people in a different way, but not necessarily allow us to rest in that meditative space so easily.
mhm,
Um, and I found, wow, this is the perfect blend. And then as I started to do my research, I found that the Mayan people here, still existing today, um,
mhm,
have a culture and a practice with this medicine. And in a little bit, we'll get into how it is and isn't what I and many of us think that, ancient traditions of cacao ceremony here on these lands in Mesoamerica. Um, but the point is that it does exist. And I wanted to come here, learn from the people, live on the lands, and yeah, see what I could glean and also see what I can offer. So, yeah, that's
mm,
why I'm here.
mm. Mhm.
Mm.
It's powerful. It's powerful. You mentioned, when we talked about Mexico, Playa del Carmen, Cancun, and Tulum, those are definitely areas that I love to travel to frequently and play and explore. But, yeah, I do see where, it's becoming, I don't wanna say secular, but I think sometimes the marketing there's a lot I mean, you can get it at any time, there's lots of ceremonies that are taking place, but I also, sometimes question the training,
Mm.
that is being done. Can you speak to a little bit more about what training is required to be someone who shares cacao with others? Mm,
That's a great, 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 great question. Um, Especially as someone who's, myself kind of, I've taken interesting routes with training and now even offering trainings. Um, I've worked with different indigenous traditions from all around the world, and they're all very similar. You need to take up with an elder and just sit by their side and do the thing and go fetch the water and go do this and eventually get the chance to light the fire and eventually get a chance to chop the cacao and eventually maybe even make the cacao and prepare it for the ceremony that still yet someone else is going to be holding in that space. If it's a nana, a tata, one of these
mm,
elders that will be holding the space. But my point is that all of these are oral tradition teachings, passed on from generation to generation.
mhm,
And something that's interesting that I hear a lot from the elders these days is that there's less and less of the young ones that are wanting to receive these kinds of teachings, even within such powerful families that have been doing it for generations. It's there in the ethers, but um, often the
good,
question comes up, well, how do you guys feel, you guys being indigenous teachers? And I've heard these same questions and answers in Colombia, Brazil, Peru, here in Guatemala, or in Mexico. Um, how do you feel about foreigners training, foreigners learning your ways,
yeah,
foreigners carrying these traditions? And they say, well, somebody's got to. And to be honest, our young ones are not so interested these days.
mm,
They're It's harder and harder, with cell phones, with all of this other exposure to other lives. And we all, there's nothing to say there's absolutely anything wrong with that. We all maybe are mother and father or whoever we were raised by had a certain lineage, but we chose a different path.
mhm,
Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I often hear how happy they are when anybody is wanting to take up these traditions. And so, back to the question, what does it actually mean to train? I don't Even though I offer trainings, I'm the first to say I don't think there's a right way. I don't think that there's and it's not just I.
mhm,
From what I've heard, from what I've gleaned, um, you can come to these practices however you deem when you're ready, when you truly have done the deep introspection and you know you're ready, then you're
mm,
ready. And for me, it was just a couple years of learning from a few different teachers, none of whom were indigenous in the beginning.
mm,
And I just, okay, now I've been in countless ceremonies. Um, I know this medicine. She's speaking to me. She spoke to me deeply from the first time, and I'm ready to do this.
mhm,
It's being asked of me. People are being calling for me to hold more and more of the space. So I went from just supporting, participating, supporting, and co-facilitating to
mhm,
facilitating ceremonial spaces. And again, that also went hand in hand with, as you said earlier, this weaving. I was getting trained as a yoga teacher, trained
mm,
in massage, trained in craniosacral. trained in all of these different modalities, empathic communication, and it just went hand in hand. That okay, I feel ready to hold the space for others, for them to dive deep and do the work, and
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know if it's a little bit of a roundabout answer, but I think it's just because I don't really believe I'm not a gatekeeper kind of person
There you
to say
go.
that there's a right way, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's an important point, because I think it calls to you when it calls to you, you know, and healing is not my experience, healing is not linear.
Mm,
It's not something that occurs, like a one-time kind of thing, and I was trying to explain that to some other people, who I'll just say I was trying to explain that to some other people. That, yes, I have cacao in my I do cacao ceremony, but that doesn't mean that my healing afterwards is complete.
yep.
Yeah.
Never, never,
Y
right?
I might need to go over here to do yoga, I might need to go over here to do something else, but I'm not completely putting my healing process into this one thing. It is more, it sounds more like an ecosystem of
Yes,
bringing all of what you're doing and all of who you are, um, into this one moment, if that makes sense. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Mhm,
And actually, I mean, I just want to heighten what you're saying a little more, even, and just for the encouragement of all the people that are out there listening. That I'll never forget the first ayahuasca ceremony that I was going to sit in. Um, the man who was just a guy living in South Florida, um, from South Florida, and he wanted to have a call with me. I wanted to have a call with him before, and I was pretty skeptical. I always thought it'd be in the jungle, be with,
mhm,
and this and that. And I'll just say that we got to a point where he said, "Well, look, don't come to me to be your savior. You're the one you've been waiting for. You are your
mm,
own healer.
mhm,
I'm here to hold the space, which I do well. I know how to work with this medicine, which I do well. But you are your own shaman. You are your own healer, and
mhm,
um, and I have to say that's first and foremost the way that I operate. And so to come back around to what you're saying about this ecosystem and the way that we need so many different tools to navigate day by day by day.
mhm,
Um, that's also what I share in ceremony and teach others to share in ceremony, is that joy, you have your own gifts and your own way of life that has guided you to this very moment. And so the ceremonial space that you're going to hold is something that no one can train you for. Only
mhm,
you and life has trained you for this moment. And
mhm.
you're ready. And I'm ready. And many of the people out there, when the moment comes that it is the right, like when you know.
You
And
know.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, I love what you're touching on, that there's no one way.
yeah, yeah, and I think that also, especially when it comes to plant medicine or any tool that you use, to patience,
Hmm.
patience and,
Hmm.
trust is very important. You can have all the tools in the world. You can go to all the meditation classes and take ownership. I can go to all the meditation classes that I want and, sit under spiritual teachers and drink cacao and ayahuasca. But if I don't have trust, particularly self-trust in what I'm doing, or trust in the divine, trust in God, trust in uh my ability, like you said, to be my own shaman or to be my own,
Hmm.
guru, healer, then I'll always be looking outside of myself, and to somebody else to give me that answer. Yeah,
Yeah. That
yeah,
answer, that validation, that yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when it comes to plant medicine, I as a facilitator, I don't tell people this is going to heal you and it's going to fix all your, it's going to fix,
Yep.
it's going to heal everything. It's going to fix all your problems.
Yep.
There's still a lot of integration work, I think, that has to be done with anything that you do, but I think there's a lot of integration work. So,
Mm.
mhm,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think often people come to ceremonies, they come to a few months of psychotherapy practice. They expect it to be done.
Mhm,
And there's integration, and then there's more work, and then there's integration, there's more work, and then and it just, I think it's, yeah, it will forever be there. I mean, even Ram Dass, which is a big teacher of mine, he would always say, like, I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80. I haven't gotten rid of one neuroses that I've had all of these years with all the thousands of acid trips and this and that and like and being at the enlightened
yeah.
of Neem Karoli Baba and all this, and it's just like, yeah, the point is like, how do we choose to show up for life and live day to
Mm,
day when we do have the tools, when we do have the messages, when we've done enough work that we say, well, now it's just a simple do it. Like, I mean, I'll be honest.
yeah,
I've been struggling with using my phone a lot, not necessarily just social media, but also just with my work, with reaching out to people through WhatsApp, and just kind of seeking connection through this device.
mm,
And a couple days ago, I just said, I could keep doing all the work and all of blah 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 blah, and at the end, just put down the damn phone. Right. Just,
Right.
I mean, come on. How
Yeah.
much more am I gonna just keep, oh, wow, wow, it's like, sometimes we just gotta do the thing, and
Mhm,
it's just,
mhm,
or stop doing the thing. So,
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
so anyways, like you said, it's it's not gonna fix it all. At the
Yeah,
end, we gotta just do the work.
yeah. Still do the work. My biggest challenge has been giving space for the work to unfold, for the unraveling of what it is that I am healing,
Mm,
and just
yeah,
giving that space and learning how to sit
mm,
in that stillness and in that silence. And I think that's one thing that I really respect and appreciate about cacao is
mm,
that it brings me to this space within myself of stillness,
yes.
of just being
Oh,
grounded, being present, being still, and I can hear myself think. There's not a lot of chatter going on uh, when I get present and into cacao ceremony.
wow,
Yeah.
well said. Yes,
Yeah.
yep. Often I think we're looking for the big bang, and
Hmm.
sometimes the biggest comes from this stillness that you're
Comes
talking
from,
about.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Giving it
Um,
just, yeah, laying down the, when you mentioned the phone, what actually came, laying down the expectation
mm,
and
yeah.
the attachment to
Mm,
the outcome.
yep. Yep.
Just, yeah, that's what plant medicine does for me, because when she starts to work, I have no control over it. I mean, I'm in control of my body, but what's coming up to the light, that I don't have any control over that. So,
Mm,
mm, I find myself sitting with with thoughts, I see feelings, but also I find myself dancing too, because you
yeah.
think about the spirit, um, and the
Exactly.
feminine energy, and feminine masculine energy. It's very feminine. I tell you, one time I was up in here, I just felt so much joy. So it's not always about feeling the grief and what's coming up and the
Yes.
emotions,
Yes.
but also, embracing the joy and allowing myself to feel that. I was,
Mm.
oh my gosh, like, I'm really dancing and allowing myself to move and just being present and
Sounds
in
like real
just
freedom.
yeah, and freedom. Freedom. So that has also been a new experience for me. Yeah.
That is super beautiful. And I'm really glad that you touched on that. Especially we've already talked quite a bit about heaviness and and the work and it's all true, and we need to do that in order to get to the light you're talking about,
Mhm.
often. Not necessarily in the same moment, but just in general in the life. Like, a lot of times people only shoot for the bliss, and
Yeah.
they especially with cacao, especially in kind of the new age world, it's, "Yeah, I'm gonna, like, drink some cacao and feel ecstasy," um but anyways, just to say, a lot of times people don't recognize that, yeah, whatever it is that we're gonna do, if it's cacao, as much as you can feel anything is as much as you can feel everything. So having in one
Mm.
moment, it's because it's our capacity of experience, of presence, of feeling, right? And so we're just talking
Mhm.
about increasing our capacity to feel. And so, yeah, we did all this work, this heavy, and it's like, so of course, it's going to lend to, whoa, what? Life is just getting richer and richer every day. And it's like, I feel so alive. I feel so excited. Um, and not like ungrounded flying like just like oh my gosh I'm just it's like no, just truly felt deep gratitude. And when that gratitude comes,
Mhm.
that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is, I can be just as elated and grateful for the pain I just experienced a couple minutes ago. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. And you know cacao, it has this one chemical that's in it called anandamide. Ananda meaning the bliss molecule, and
Mm.
and so it's like, wow, you're literally consuming something that comes with the bliss chemical, the bliss molecule.
Mhm.
You've got theobromine, which means food of the gods. Literally connecting us from the deep underworld to here as humble humans into the upper world. I mean, it's just really cycling us through all forms of existence. We've
Mhm.
we've got all of these wonderful properties that are in here on a physical level. We've got the spirit of cacao coming through. So yes, to speak of that freedom and that excitement that you're just talking about as you're dancing around, and it's like, I really, really, really hope and pray that people will work with cacao and remember that side of things. And yeah,
Mhm.
that is just as much a part of the healing practice and healing path as anything else.
Yes. 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 And for me, uh, embodying the belief that what I am feeling, I am worthy of. That this joy,
Good.
this this freedom that I'm feeling, it's coming from me. And so, uh, you know, I I have a right to feel that
Mm,
makes sense, to feel what it is that I feel. I think sometimes it's just easy to get stuck in the process and in the work and doing the hard, the dark stuff. But I have found that fun and play and joy and nature, those things are also a part of the work that we do, and it's just
yeah,
as powerful, if not
just
more.
as valid.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I think there's a reason that, like, in general, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most humans on the planet are shooting for that experience. Like,
Mhm,
maybe the deepest underlaying is like just peace. Most people just want to experience peace. But the kind of the first emotions that if you're going to gravitate towards something, it's like what we're taught. It's in the foundation of most religions that they will lead you to all of this
Mhm.
joy, elatement, bliss. I mean, this is like the rapture. I mean, all of this, it's like,
Mm.
um, so yes, you're totally right. This is not just as valid. It's like this is crucial. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It certainly has supported cacao has certainly supported me in having a deeper level of intimacy, with myself, uh,
Hmm.
as well as in my relationships, particularly with my children and
Wow.
with others. How has cacao impacted your relationships?
Yeah. Thank you. Um, my relationships and the ones you just spoke of with your kids. Um, I mean, for me, I always remember the cacao. One of the most core elements, one of the, I think possibly the most powerful element of cacao is its property of social connection, of relationship,
Mhm.
of humility, and dropping the ego in a way that allows us to relate to another. And the deepening of the connection because of there being less ego, more humility, and more relatability and more seeing allows us to see and hear another and to convey and share our voice and to share our rich heart emotions and strip away all the armor and just say, "Yep, here I am. Here
Mhm.
I am." Um, and of course, I can do that anytime. I don't need the cacao, but she helps. She really does support us in that endeavor. And so when I bring it
Mhm.
in, and the last few years, my family from Michigan, I've been going up there. I'm 40, been going up there 40 years in a row for the family reunion. And the last few years, they've come down to Florida and 20 to 30 people sitting around a campfire who are all from a big Catholic family, don't know anything, don't have any judgments against it, but
Yeah, yeah.
just think it's hot chocolate. But wow, I serve it up, and now now even in Michigan, everyone's asking, when are we going to get out of the cacao? They don't know exactly what it's doing, but they know it's doing something. They're so excited, like, and so, yeah, so in the hundreds and hundreds of ceremonies that I've held, that I see the people relating and connecting and vibing and the group consciousness. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not just like, oh wow, it helps us sing and dance and laugh and talk more. No, it creates a super consciousness, a collective
Mhm.
consciousness field that in this kind of space, we are exponentially healing, growing, learning, evolving because I mean, it's
Mhm.
maybe to someone out there that is catching this sounds very woo woo, but just try it. Just watch what happens. I mean, and even if someone is coming from the Christian tradition, for example, there's that
Mhm.
core saying, when two or more gather in my name, I am there. And what
Come
I
on,
take that
Dad.
yeah. What I gather from that is the more we gather together, the more that we are powerful, the more that we are calling in the one, the
Yeah.
spirit. And
Mhm.
cacao, it heightens the field. It's called the heart medicine because it opens up our heart chakra. It opens up this field. And you know, generally, I mean, the Heart Math Institute has studied that roughly one arm's length distance out is about normally how far electromagnetic field from our heart extends. And when we drink cacao, that's 3 to 5 times stronger. So now when we're doing that in a big group and we all are now merging and we're
Mhm.
really connected, we're talking about an organism. We've
Mhm.
created a
Mhm.
new experience, a new consciousness that didn't exist until we came together that day, that moment, that ceremony, drank that
Mhm.
cacao. Now we all have this mutual frequency of cacao within us to tie us all together. I mean, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
really supported my relationships, and I've just seen it do such deep healing work, and I'm glad to hear that it's really brought into your life as well on a practical way.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you for that because I think that's an important point to make is that cacao is not just an individual experience.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't operate in a silo. That
Yeah.
it really does bring people together in one consciousness with not only with the divine but with each other as well. So yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. My I don't know if you
Um,
remember this, but
right.
my hmm, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, well, okay, I wanna go ahead. I'll come back to that in a second.
No, no, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you remember, but my training for my facilitator training was the cacao ceremony with my daughter as she was preparing
Yes.
for the wedding. So we had ceremony together, and she allowed me to record it, and I still have that moment
Wow.
of our
Wow.
conversations, and she just opened up, just she's always talked, but she opened up. She was like, "And another thing, and another thing."
Ah! Yes. Yes. Empowered and open and free and vulnerable and wow. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah, I definitely yeah, and I will say in that moment, I felt the oneness. I felt the presence of me, her, and the Holy Spirit. I felt the oneness in the
I
room. So,
remember
yeah.
you telling me that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, and that's exactly I just wanted to speak real quickly and again kind of like bring it down to earth because one of the best things about cacao is that it's legal, it's accessible, it's not hallucinogenic. You can drink it every day with basically no issue.
Mhm.
And I bring all of that up to say that it's very practical to bring into everyday life, even as a coffee replacement, things like this and it's also very practical in the sense that most people know hot chocolate. Most people are familiar with this in some respect, and so they're not scared of it in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And now I've been 7 years with Holy Wow Cacao, and I get a chance to talk to a lot of people around the world. I would say the majority of our clientele are just ordinary people, usually moms, usually like middle-aged moms in America.
Really?
Yep, working it bringing it into their families. And then, bringing it into their yoga class, they've got a touch of spirituality and things that somehow they found the cacao. But it's been so beautiful to see how many people are just sitting with their kids or just sitting with their partner.
Mm.
Um, nothing too crazy, nothing too woo woo. They don't need the big thing to still see that, wow, this is still touching lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't do that with so many things. So I really just love how cacao works. Her spirit is just so, wow, like divinely orchestrated that
Mhm.
can't
Mhm.
plan this.
Mhm. Yeah. When you were talking about the mothers and their children and couples sitting together, what came up for me was love. Was
Mm.
was love. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think that one more piece that if everyone out there can hear this, it's cacao is the heart medicine, medicine of the heart.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
means that from so many ways, but what you just said, Joy, medicine of love. It
Mhm.
doesn't need any more words than that. We
Yeah.
work with this, and eventually we don't even need to drink the cacao because she has taught us what this frequency is that we're talking about, that we can hone
Mhm.
in on, that we can cultivate in any given moment, that we can live in every single moment of the day more
Yeah.
and more and more and more fully. And um, yeah, she's just pointing the way, but um, yeah,
Mhm.
there's a teaching there that goes far beyond. Um, needing to ingest the substance. If we really listen deeply, hear
Mhm.
the message, and actually learn what we're supposed to be learning by working with this and to begin with. So yeah,
Mhm.
love, love,
Mhm.
love.
Mhm. I like what you said though about and say that, I'm sorry, say that again. It was like kind of taking it, using it as needed because I think sometimes um one of the fears is maybe addiction, it becoming a crutch or some type of codependency being developed on the use of plant medicine, cacao. Could you say more about that?
Yes, that's super critical. Um, Especially because, if you look at cacao, what's happened with it in the mainstream? Chocolate.
Mhm,
Big companies making chocolate and ultimately stripping all of the butters and all of the best things out of it, putting in lots of chemicals and milk fats and this and that. And at the end of the day, you've got something that's not even chocolate anymore. But the point is, um, it's a very powerful thing in one sense. But whenever it gets into the consumeristic mindset, the more, the gimme, gimme, gimme that any human can fall prey to,
mm,
even again, yoga, meditation, prayer, if we're coming to it through that needy seeking that like ah ah
mm,
ah
mm,
then we'll end up coming into the shadow side of it, and it will steal our soul because we give it away, not because it actually steals our soul. The
mm,
same way that anyone or anything can. I always say no one can take advantage of us. You can certainly give them all your power. um,
mhm, mhm,
and so same thing with tobacco, super powerful medicine, but what happened? Humans got a little like more, and then all of a sudden, big companies said, "Oh wow, we can use this against people. We just give us all your power and all your, and now you're hooked, and now
mhm,
you're on the drip." And and the same thing happens with all of these things. Coffee is a beautiful medicine. Cannabis is a beautiful medicine. All of
mm,
these things, and quickly, if not cautious. Any of us, myself included, I've caught myself many times over the years. Oh wow, I cannot wait to wake up and have that morning cup of cacao. Um,
mm,
and
mhm,
once I notice that coming from the certain way that only you know and only each person knows, you know what I'm talking about.
mhm,
When it's like, uh-uh, that's not healthy anymore. No, I see
yeah,
my once I get the cacao, once I get that hit of theobromine, once one once I what? If we're talking about
uh-huh,
presence,
mm,
that's available right here, right now. There's no once I drink this, there's nowhere to go. And so
mm,
I and all of the rest of us have to be very cautious about anything that we are consuming, ingesting, making a practice out of. Um, that
mhm,
we're not getting into a consumeristic, materialistic mindset that is the neediness that is going to keep us in an endless loop that nothing will ever satisfy. But on a
mhm,
practical level, I just want to say no, it's completely non addictive. It's got 1/12 to 1/20th the amount of caffeine that's in a cup of coffee. So it's, you're not going to get in that caffeine addiction. Um, and there's nothing in here that's addictive. The only thing that's addictive is, again, people feeling good and attributing it only to the thing they ingested instead of realizing that it's like saying, "Wow, I'm so in love with you. You make me feel what?
uh-oh,
You,
Mateo, you getting ready to go somewhere.
yeah, yeah, okay. I'm about to get on a soapbox, but yeah, I like, but
You
it's
about to
like,
get on that street.
yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, it's like we cultivate it within, right? Joy creates the joy within. She may
Yes.
be around another person and fine. Wow, I feel elated when I'm in your presence. And at the
Mm,
same time, only I can unlock that key in me, and only you can unlock that in you. So,
yes.
yeah, I guess like I want to, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
No, no, what comes up for me is attachment,
Yes.
attachment. You
Yes.
know, oftentimes we confuse I often take ownership. Definitely, there's been times in my life where I've confused attachment with love.
Yep.
But what you're talking about, that more and that dependency, yeah, that cuts across so many different spiritual tools and practices. I need one more book. I need one more class. I need one more tarot or divination reading. I need, and it's just like, where's the line?
Yep.
Where's the line? You
Yeah.
know?
It's right
It's that
here.
it's that operating from that core belief of not being enough or not having enough.
Lack. Yes.
Lack,
Exactly.
lack, yes, lack,
Abundance or lack? Which
yeah,
consciousness do you choose? Yes.
yes, the consciousness of scarcity
Yes.
and lack, so Do
It's
you
like
talk to people about
yeah, I often use pronoia and paranoia. Is the world
that?
out to get you, or is life conspiring in your favor? And to me,
Ooh,
life is always conspiring in our favor because that's the nature of existence. It wants to
yeah,
grow. We're continuing. So yeah, I'm full pronoia that no matter what
paranoia.
happens, everything is always in our favor, and that
Mhm,
is pure abundance.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, paranoia, I
Mm.
like that. It says to me life is happening for me, in support of me, and not to me,
Yes,
which
yes,
yeah,
yes.
which removes the victim consciousness.
Exactly.
Paranoia. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I like that.
Oh, oh, yes. Mm.
Yeah, so, well, Mateo, is there anything that you would like to leave with the audience before we go?
Hmm. Wow, I feel like we've got another 2 to 3 hours to keep going, but, yeah, but
I
yes, we do
know.
gotta wrap it up. Um, I guess first and foremost would be give it a try, a lot of times we can hear things and say, "Yeah, yeah, but that's for them. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
that's not my thing." Um, and at the same time, do you like chocolate? I bet you do, because
Mhm.
a lot of people like chocolate. Um, I'm kidding, but I think that the beauty of cacao is how accessible it is, how relatable it is, and the core that the final message would be if you give it a try, or even if you've been giving it a try 1,000 times, um, do so with reverence and respect to the spirit of cacao. We didn't really touch so much on that
Mhm.
today, but we are not going to get much out of anything if we don't come to the spirit of it. And we need to welcome her in. We need to invite her presence, her consciousness, the spirit of cacao and great spirit to come to be with us and to make the proper container. Take a few moments of breath and prayer and presence to actually receive and to see the subtleties because cacao is not a loud teacher like a lot of them. If you
Mm.
smoke cannabis, you smoked cannabis. You took mushrooms, you most likely know you took some mushrooms, and so on. Um, if you're sitting in front of a guru, he's teaching you, he's talking with his voice. Cacao's voice is very subtle. So just encouraging you to sit in a very beautiful soft space, or at least an intentional space, whether you dance and sing or play, or
Mm.
whether you sit and meditate, or you write some poetry, or whatever it is that you do. Invite her spirit to come and be with you and create the space to truly hear and listen instead of your voice needing to be the loudest one in the room. Um, yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mm. I think that is a wonderful way to, close this interview, um, with
mm.
reverence.
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 Yeah. And
Mhm.
humility.
Mhm. Yes. And the sacredness of the plant and the availability of the plant in the moment, because I do believe that things come to you in divine timing. It's just having that awareness to be able to recognize it
Mm,
when it,
mhm.
being able to recognize it when it shows up. Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. So, Mateo, is there anything that you I wanna I know we talked about the confession booth, so I want to invite you before we go to step into the
Hmm.
confession booth and to share something that mm, that is sacred to you. I know music is important to you.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Glad we have time. Few final moments remaining.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the confession is an interesting part of that, like confession booth. Um, I like that because it inspires vulnerability. It inspires, you know, not holding back and being in fear of what somebody might think of me, and just all of these kinds of
Mm.
things that you know. Also, confession is there's an air of like you did something wrong. I don't know if,
You know
but hey, uh, well, hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna sing a song that has been actually very important to me. It speaks to me very much about the journey and the journey of life and the journey of working with all the different medicines of the forest and
Mhm, mhm,
whichever one we make the queen of the forest at the time that um, yeah, whatever's in front of you at this time. So
mhm.
Queen of the forest, your medicine shapes my soul. Queen of the forest, your medicine breaks my bones. Queen of the forest, your medicine makes me whole. Queen of the forest, turning ignorance into gold. In the darkness of the night, and my heart is burning
Mhm.
so bright, and the longing to be free is deep inside of me. Through the deep journey of the soul, unveiling wisdom, help me unfold all the stories that I hold. Let them go, let them go. Through the doors of my mind, unveiling wisdom, transcend the time. The heart of now is my shrine. One heart, one prayer, one child. One, one, one.
Mhm.
One, one, one. Kim shara gawa. Kim shara tu kanka. Kim shara kim she kalawa. Kim she tu kanka. Queen of the forest, Kakasita, Queen of the forest, mi amiguita, Queen of the forest. Yana, 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 yana,
Mhm.
yana, yana,
Mm. Beautiful,
you.
beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you
Thanks for
so
giving me
much.
that moment to share my heart, my voice. Thank you for this
Yes.
space. Thank you to
Mm,
all of you. You've made it this far. So grateful for you to be here. Even in the timeless space of all creation, we are feeling your presence at this very moment. And yeah,
mhm,
thank you,
mhm.
Joy. Thank you for guiding this space so beautifully. Really appreciate you and all that you offer, you carry, your wisdom. And thank you so much. Mm.
Thank you. Thank you for your presence today. Um, and
Hmm.
thank you for being my brother in
Hey.
cacao. Yeah. Because there hasn't ever been a moment when I reached out to you and you were too busy or
Mm.
you always made time uh, as my trainer, as a mentor, but I just say my brother in cacao. So um, yes, yeah. So thank you.
Ah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank
Happy
you.
to be here along with you on the journey. Yeah,
Yes,
really.
yeah.
Such an honor and a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for joining us today. And if you want to learn more about Holy Wow Cacao, you can visit their website at www.holywowcacao.com to reach out to Mateo and the organization directly. But until then, stay grounded and keep your heart open. And this is Coach Joy, Sex in the Seminary podcast.
Mm.